Cruise ships are floating cities. They carry thousands of passengers, endless entertainment, and the promise of escape from ordinary life. But they also hold something darker: secrets, shadows, and sometimes crimes that vanish without a trace. In 2019, the Pacific Dream left Miami for the Caribbean. On board were more than 4,000 passengers. By the end of the voyage, one young woman would never be seen again. This is the story of her disappearance, and the man many believe was responsible. The Pacific Dream promised 7 nights of luxury. Passengers dined, drank, and danced their way into what should have been a perfect holiday. But among them was 45-year-old Richard Collins, a businessman from Chicago. To most, he seemed unremarkable, quiet, polite, distant. But his black suitcase, which he refused to check in with the rest of his luggage, would later raise questions. Why was he so protective of it? And why did he seem so careful to avoid cameras? For the first 2 days, Collins kept to himself. Often seen pacing the upper deck late at night, phone pressed to his ear. Crew would later report he made countless international calls routed through untraceable numbers. Among the passengers was Emily Dawson, a 24-year-old student celebrating her graduation with friends. Emily was adventurous, outspoken, and friendly with nearly everyone she met on board. On the 3rd night, she crossed paths with Richard Collins in the ship's nightclub. Witnesses described them laughing, sharing drinks, and eventually leaving together. What started as a harmless encounter would mark the beginning of a chilling mystery. The last confirmed sighting of Emily was at 1:42 a.m. Security cameras captured her and Collins arguing on deck 7. She appeared upset, raising her voice before walking away. Collins followed a few steps behind. Then, the camera feed glitched, freezing for 32 seconds. When the image returned, Emily was gone. Collins walked back alone. No one would ever see Emily alive again. By morning, Emily's friends grew alarmed when she didn't return to her cabin. Her belongings were untouched, her shoes by the door, her passport still locked in the safe. She had vanished without a trace. Investigators turned their attention to Richard Collins. When they searched his cabin, what they found shocked them. Multiple passports, each under different names, thousands in cash, documents suggesting smuggling and fraud, and among it all, something chilling: a torn fragment of fabric later identified as belonging to Emily's scarf. On the 5th night, Collins made his move. At 2:15 a.m., he tried to launch a lifeboat in the darkness. But crew members caught him. He was detained, placed under guard in a locked cabin until authorities could intervene. The Pacific Dream continued its voyage, but for the passengers, fear only grew. When the ship docked in San Juan, the FBI boarded. Collins was arrested immediately, not for murder but for fraud and identity theft. Despite the suspicious evidence, Emily's body was never found. Without a body, prosecutors couldn't prove murder. Collins remains imprisoned today, but not for the crime most believe he committed. But the story doesn't end there. Enhanced footage revealed something chilling. At 2:03 a.m., Emily appeared briefly on a hallway camera, alive, walking alone. But behind her was another figure, a shadow belonging to someone never identified, someone who wasn't on the passenger list, someone who was never found. To this day, Emily Dawson has never been found. Richard Collins sits in prison for financial crimes, but no one has ever been charged in her disappearance. Was Collins guilty of more than fraud? Or was there another figure, hidden in the shadows of Deck 7? At sea, justice is complicated. Evidence vanishes, witnesses disappear, and sometimes people do too.